Support WrestleTalk!
Give us a subscribe.
Thank you for your support on Patreon. Nobody names their kids this anymore. Larry. Hello and welcome to the WrestleTalk Trustworthy News. I am El Fakador Laurie Blake. Now today's top story is that SmackDown's ratings have gone the way of Rusev and Lana's marriage. Down the pan. Because last Friday's episode of the Blue Brand drew the smallest audience in the history of the show, with just 888,000 people tuning in to watch. And while, because reasons that will become clear the more we go on this, we should take this whole thing with a Luchasaurus-sized pinch of salt, the show was bested by AEW Dynamite, which drew 963,000 viewers on Wednesday. It's basically been one big coffin drop from the heady heights of the first few weeks on Fox, which brought in nearly 4 million viewers on its debut and settled somewhere around the 2.5 million mark last week. This also meant that Friday's episode is about 500,000 viewers worse off than the previous low point, the December 31st, 2015 episode, which was the last one on Sci-Fi and drew 1.6 million. On New Year's Eve. This episode was just on FS1, which I guess is one big explainer for the dip in viewers, because SmackDown was bumped from its regular home on Fox by the World Series, a sort of sporting cuck, if you will, which had more than 12 million people tune in to watch it. There was also NBA, Bellator, and a replay of AEW Dynamite, which all fit the sport/entertainment/both category WWE is positioning itself as. But even with all of that said, this is still a massive drop-off. And considering that the numbers have never been this bad, you'd be forgiven for thinking that this can't be all about a change of channel. For instance, WWE had a full week to promote the change of channel. They had Brock Lesnar, Cain Velasquez, Ric Flair, and Hulk Hogan all set to be there, and they promoted them well in advance. So, I don't know, maybe the interest in the ongoing build for Crown Jewel just isn't there. Maybe you shouldn't have started your show on Fox and just built up to a show in Saudi Arabia. Maybe people wanted to watch, I don't know, some old-timers coach a team of young up-and-comers to glory. They'll probably just watch the Mighty Ducks instead. It is, for one thing, less politically difficult. Unless, of course, you take into account Adam Banks playing for the Hawks when he should have been playing for the Ducks because he lives in District 5. Maybe if people wanted to watch MMA stars go at it, they'd watch MMA. And maybe if they wanted to see a Gypsy King face off against a monster, they play D&D or something more imaginative. But really, it's not likely to have been the content that turned that many people away, but the overabundance of competition and the move. But none of that explains the reported thinking from WWE's side of things, because WrestleVotes on Twitter said this. Internally, WWE expected this past Friday's SmackDown to do similar numbers to what the show was doing on USA Network prior to the move. For reference, the final SmackDown on USA in September drew 2.099 million viewers. So, if this estimate of WWE's is true, they were way off base. Like Hell in a Cell finale way off base. Which is something the Wraps TV editor Tony Maglio thought was a greater problem than a dip in ratings when replying to WrestleVotes. He said, if this is the case, I haven't asked anyone, then WWE has bigger problems than just #TV ratings. Expecting a Friday show on a modestly sized cable channel against the World Series to get what a Tuesday version did versus limited competition on a top 5 cable network is not very smart. Especially in a one-off situation where no matter how much you cross-promote, it doesn't reach everyone. While it's growing as a cable channel, and while #SmackDown is better than most FS1 programming, FS1 tied Lifetime last year as the 40th most watched cable channel. So if what Tony thinks is true, is this a case of internal complacency from WWE? Another sort of the fans will watch whatever we do, wherever we do it thing. You know, you just have to dangle Hulk Hogan in front of them and they'll flock to the program. As long as he's not riding a wrecking ball in a thong. Tony then expanded with what might be the crux of the situation. FS1 is not a popular or easy to find channel. I assume the DVRs didn't auto-forward either. They lost the casuals. And that is a lot of casuals, like 500,000, but you can definitely imagine people seeing that the World Series is on Fox and assuming that SmackDown isn't on this week, or not surfing far enough down the TV guide to find it tucked away on FS1. Because if you're not entrenched in the wrestling culture, you're not going to be looking at Twitter for WWE stuff. You're just going to be surfing until you go, oh, I like wrestling. And I don't know where FS1 comes in the TV guide. We don't get it over here. Maybe it's the first thing that opens up when you turn on your TV, but I'm guessing it isn't. account. I think the thing to take away overall, though, is that this isn't the death knell for SmackDown at all. You got to imagine that when it goes back to Fox, those numbers are going to jump back up, even if they were trending down before the switch. But it's worth considering the internal attitude of WWE here and the impact this will have in a PR sense, especially if sporting events are going to continue to oust SmackDown from its comfy new home like they're Bobby Lashley, and the viewers do dip below AEW's when this happens. Because excuses aside, which I've now spent minutes explaining and going over, you have handed your big rivals the opportunity to say that they've now outdrawn 2 of WWE's televised weekly shows, and a lot of people won't dig much deeper than that. It is all about the optics. And all about optics is the next story too, which has caused some controversy around a certain WWE-affiliated Twitter account. The account in question, WWE and Fox, has been making a name for itself by being the only bit of WWE communication with a hint of personality. Oh my god, it's like a person runs it and not a robot. So really, it was only a matter of time before they put their foot in it. In a sense. Because after a fan asked where are the people of colour on a tweet advertising Raw with Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Becky Lynch, Kairi Sane, Seth Rollins and Eric Rowan, the account tweeted back saying, "What do you think Kairi Sane is?" Now, this sparked controversy and lots of discussion over on Reddit, because though Kairi Sane is a person of colour, which is defined as a person who is not white or of European heritage, it was probably a poor time to dive headfirst into a racial debate considering what's happening with Jordan Myles, which we're going to get into in a moment. Now, WWE on Fox took the tweet down and posted on Reddit saying it was a bad tweet on our end. We shouldn't even have replied, or we could have used other examples like the Street Profits, R-Truth, etc. But we just should have stayed quiet. Mistakes happen, and this was on us. This rare bit of self-awareness from a WWE-affiliated product then led into a rational and reasoned debate on flipping Reddit of all places, about whether it was right to post the tweet, some saying the account should have stayed out of it, or that they knew what the responder was trying to say and should have responded accordingly. Now, on the other hand, many people from Asian communities thanked the account for not excluding them in the wider conversation around inclusivity, and that they were right to put the tweet out in the first place. It is so obviously not right for me to say what is right and what is wrong in this situation, but I think the honesty from the people behind the WWE on Fox account is refreshing here and clearly seems to have de-escalated a tricky situation. So maybe we could get them on board to defuse the Jordan Myles t-shirt scandal situation, which is still ongoing. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the story so far is that a t-shirt promoting NXT wrestler Jordan Myles, formerly known as ACH, has been publicly buried by Myles himself, with him claiming that the t-shirt design and WWE as a whole is inherently racist. Now, this led to Myles, the winner of NXT's breakout tournament, to start a #ForTheCulture movement, changing his profile picture on Twitter to black and white, with WWE wrestler Cedric Alexander and various other independent wrestlers joining the cause. Now, WWE hit back against this with a statement claiming that Myles had approved the design himself and that no t-shirts had been sold as the design had been pulled from the online store before being publicly released. Now, the controversy continues as Myles has continued to tweet surrounding the topic, and in a now deleted tweet, Myles has claimed that he only saw the design on a white tee when it was shown to him, and when seen on a black tee, said, "You can clearly see the racist intentions." In a follow-up tweet, Myles also stated that, "When I originally saw the design, I was uncomfortable. Rather than addressing the issue, I decided to counter-offer with another. Baker Landon lied to my face. He said Triple H wanted this design, so my hands were tied. I spoke with Triple H in person, and his impression was I approved." After that came another now deleted tweet that simply said, "Don't believe me? Email him and ask yourself. GFYS Baker," which I believe stands for Good Fortune, Young Sailor. Now, attached to the tweet was a screenshot of an email from the aforementioned Baker Landon. Landon is an employee of WWE, seemingly working in the merchandise design department. The email states that Triple H liked the design and wanted it to be more teethy, and attached is what he liked. Whether this means that Myles felt like he had no choice to accept, or whether Landon did really go behind his back and tell Triple H that Myles had approved the design remains to be seen, but the tweetathon most certainly didn't stop there. Because after that, Myles went after the entire WWE system, naming Hulk Hogan and his rehiring to the company in 2018 as a prime example of why the system is fraudulent and untrustworthy. Because Hogan, of course, was rehired to WWE after issuing an apology for repeated uses of the N-word. It was definitely more of an apology for being caught than anything else, and that was a factor that Myles would mention in his tweet. Myles then branched out from just attacking WWE and their t-shirt design, instead targeting Ring of Honor and former world champion Jay Lethal, stating, FROH2, they only allowed one African American to be the top guy, while guys like Cedric Alexander and Stokely Hathaway and myself had to chase this invisible carrot and stick. Name another African American who has reached great heights there other than this Uncle Tom, with an attached photo of Jay Lethal. This wider storm then drew a statement out of WWE's Titus O'Neil, who, along with The New Day, was one of the most vocal and prominent figures surrounding the return of Hulk Hogan to the company, and is a figurehead of WWE's handling of racial issues, with many WWE fans eager to hear his opinion on the entire situation. So in a tweet, Titus said, Jordan Myles, I am 100% in agreement that this shirt is very distasteful. That being said, bringing others into this to vent your frustrations or issues that have nothing to do with WWE or the shirt is also very distasteful. If it's hashtag for the culture, don't attack those in it. Now, with Titus O'Neil being a respected member of the WWE locker room, especially regarding issues such as these, one might think that Myles may have eased off the gas a little. Quite the contrary. Myles continued to tweet saying, why should I apologize for being honest? Why should I not voice my opinion and state the facts about the state of the business? I'm proud to be a professional wrestler, and I'm even more proud to be African American. Stand with me and stand behind me. Hashtag for the culture. Now, WWE has not responded since their original statement, but one has to wonder what's to come in this debacle, because there are rumors of Myles being released from the company and a big PR press release from WWE doing the rounds. Whatever does happen though, this is a little bit of a media nightmare for WWE, and one they will surely be looking to solve sooner rather than later. So stay tuned to WrestleTalk and WrestleTalk.com, as we'll be providing updates as and when they happen. Thank you for watching, and thank you to all of the names scrolling away beneath me for being our awesome pledge hammers on Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, give us a like and a subscribe, and why not watch some more awesome WrestleTalk content by clicking the videos over there right now. I've been El Fagador, and that was Lucha.